This is IA Forward, your playbook for success as an independent insurance agent. Here to help you knock it out of the ballpark are your hosts, Shane Tatum and Tonya Lead.
Welcome to IA Forward, and welcome to gold medal season.
Have you got your Olympic tattoo yet?
No, I can't say that I have any tattoos because it is in my mother's will that if I get a tattoo, the dog gets everything. I've always wondered if some kind of attorney would actually have to inspect me for that. But yes, it is in my mother's will that if I have a tattoo, I get nothing.
I really like that idea, actually. I am a recovering anti-tattoo guy. Tattoos do not bother me at all. I do not have any tattoos, but they do not bother me. But there is a craze going on that we have this thing with the Olympic logo, the rings, the tattoo, and I've been told it's a classy tattoo.
I am tattoo agnostic. I have seen some absolutely extraordinary tattoos. In fact, if I ever got one, the one that I would get, I actually saw in College Station, Texas, and it was of a dandelion going across a girl's back, and it says, "I am more than the sum of my mistakes." So yes, I loved, there are tattoos that I absolutely love, some not so much. I understand that they are a personal choice and they are art and they are fantastic. I'm not an Olympian. So it would be difficult for me to decide to permanently brand the Olympic rings on my body anywhere. I have great respect for our Olympians, but it's not my thing.
I guess Snoop Dogg probably has some tattoos.
Yes. And if I were Snoop Dogg, who is now the semi-official mascot of the United States of America, I would get an Olympic tattoo.
He's basically almost participated in every single sport, from equestrian to swimming. He is all over the place. I've heard America's grandpa. I'm just thinking back like 30 years, and we're talking about Snoop as the heart and soul of America.
He had to bring in and spend some extra time with Martha because Snoop is so afraid of horses. He didn't even want to call the horse events because, like me, he is petrified of horses and didn't even want to be in the same space as them. I totally identify with that. But Martha came in to actually help him through that mentally. So I love that he knew that ahead of time and prepared for it. He is dedicated to this, and I get it. For $500,000 a day, I could probably overcome my severe fear of horses, but he did it.
I'm still trying to decide how I feel about this. I am very much a Snoop fan, but I was a Snoop fan at a younger age. And now we have Snoop representing America on the Olympic stage, and not only representing, but really doing it well. Just got a call from my mom saying how much she loves Snoop Dogg and how much he entertained her. And I had to remind my mom that I once got grounded for buying his CD.
That's fantastic.
That's the generational divide that's happening, and America's falling in love with Snoop.
From a business perspective, Snoop has taken his personality and turned it truly into an empire. And then when you have the partnership with Martha Stewart, which is one of the most brilliant things from a marketing brand perspective that was ever created and promoted, and where that has evolved to, it is absolutely fantastic. From an outside perspective, I would love to know, okay, where did his dream start, and could he have ever imagined this is where he would end up?
The thought that comes to my mind is authenticity, which we've talked about before. It's crazy to say that authenticity is the future. Why is that a shocking statement? But it is a shocking statement. In the world of clicks and likes and followers and social media, and really just this public persona versus private persona that so many celebrities or so many people are aspiring to be, from influencers, etc., to see that what I believe is at the core of Snoop's evolution is authenticity. That's just someone aging and having more experience in life, but Snoop is still Snoop. There's a lot to glean from watching and looking and studying some of these individuals that are fake and some of these individuals that are extremely authentic, who can we have aspirations to model? Is it the fakeness? Is it the social media? Is it the followers that have been obtained by not being truly who you are? Or is it the people that you can sit there and look at and go, okay, this person is pretty authentic from what I can tell?
Growing up, I always thought I was going to be an attorney. There was never any doubt in anybody's mind that I was going to be an attorney. And I was involved with every organization possible to prepare for that in junior high and high school. I actually went to college 2 years early so I would be able to get through law school and be out sooner. Like the whole plan was there. And the plan was made and discussed and the goals were set and all of the things. And my last year in college, I was speaking to a Lions Club group and was offered a job on the weekends by a local radio station owner, paying me much more than anybody else that was working as a college student at the time in the 90s because of the position that I had at the university and who I was and my abilities. And 6 weeks later, I called my parents and told them I had decided not to go to law school, that I was going to go into radio. And whether or not that was financially the best decision possible, it was the best decision for me as a human being. And I look back now and I was preparing to live another person's dream. It had always been the plan that was set out for me. I can't imagine being buried under paperwork every day as an attorney. And you know me, Shane. Can you imagine that fitting my personality and who I am? Absolutely not. My parents were very upset with me for about 2.5 years. And finally, I remember having the conversation with my mom and saying, if you want to be an attorney, you go to law school and you be an attorney. It's not my dream. And it was a very forceful conversation. It wasn't a conversation that I normally would have had with my parents. But my mom went to law school after that. And she lived her dream. And I'm thrilled that she had the opportunity to do that. But it wasn't my dream. And I wouldn't be where I am now in a place where I absolutely love my life and I love what I do. And I adore helping people make their businesses better if I had lived the dream that was set before me.
I recently had a conversation with a good friend and one of our preferred vendors at Integra in the Integra Partner Network, Pilgrim with IE Blueprint. And he made the comment that reminded me of some of these articles that I've read of people just need to stop chasing other people's dreams. And it resonated with me to the story with you and your mom and being an attorney. That is what I see a lot out in the market. I did it early on in my career, less in the second half of my career here, probably over the last 10 to 15 years. But this happens a lot in our personal lives, but certainly happens a lot in our agency businesses. We want to set our goals to be like someone else that we meet at a conference or someone that we hear speak at a conference or that we see on social media doing something. An agency that has reached a size and has a following and maybe even has their own podcast or a podcast studio in their office. It's part of who they are. It's their talent. But then we have a whole group of other people going, that's what I need to do. And that's where I get, okay, wait a minute. Let's really talk about this. Not everybody's personality is made for a podcast. Not everybody's personality is made for being the driver of their own social media. Some people just don't have that talent. You may have talent elsewhere. You do have a talent elsewhere. This idea of chasing other people's dreams, it's a virus for our agencies, for our businesses. It's not authentic and it's not a place of happiness. You're not going to be as happy as you would have been if you would have chased your own dream, if you would have created your own mindset or path to what's going to work for me, which is what I love about the independent agency system. If you've talked to one independent agent, you've talked to one independent agent. We're all different. We all have different approaches to different things, very different than the exclusive agent system, very different than the direct channel branding. It's an amazing small business concept, the independent agency system, and it literally allows us as individual agency owners to chase our own dream, create our own dream. But I don't see enough agents doing that. I see way too many agents chasing someone else's dream.
My girls' supper club that I host at my house once a month, there are several women that are in it that are in the independent agency world or that work for a captive agency. And I always find it fascinating when they start to talk business a little bit, because they all work for extremely successful agents that have very different theories on how to do business. And one will say, oh, well, what are you doing for this? And three others will chime in and they'll say, we do this and we do this, but none of them have the same theory, right? They're all extraordinarily successful, but none of them are trying to do it the same way. And I find that fascinating within our industry because there are industries out there that wouldn't be that way. There are industries out there that it would be, oh, I'm going to try to grab that idea and make it my own, where these conversations have been more about, this is why I do it this way, and it works really well for us, but I see why that works as well. And independent agency owners tend to be free thinkers. And I know that's one of the reasons that our business is so fantastic, because you can do it your way.
There's this thing that I've noticed that is a struggle for agents that moved from the exclusive side to the independent side. I used to think it was entitlement. It's not as much about entitlement as it is they've been used to someone solving their problem for them for 10 years. And one of the most amazing places to watch an independent agency evolve to is realizing that no one's going to solve your problem, that you are the one that's going to solve your problem. There's such an element of that true ownership. Some do not like it. Some get into the independent agency system, to which I am unapologetically biased. I know that there are agents in the captive system, to your point, that are extremely successful and they love what they do. And that's great. The ones that make the leap to the independent side that struggle are the ones that struggle to create their own dream, create their own, oh, this is my problem to solve, that I don't have anyone coming to tell me how to solve this problem. Now, I can have a peer group. I can join an agency network like the Integra Partner Network. I can find a peer group, a community within the independent agency system that I can bounce ideas off of. But there are very few situations over my career in the system, in the independent agency system, where I took ideas or bounced things off of peers, where when I got it under my hood and started working on it, that I didn't tweak a little bit. There's nothing that I can think of right here, right now, where I just copied and kept everything the same. If I borrowed an idea from someone and said, oh, that's a great idea, it got molded into our way, my way, the way of Integra. It changed a little bit to fit our need. That's the big difference to me between the exclusive model and the independent model. It's not that there's this new amazing creation going on. It's the ability to tweak, to mold it to fit our own needs.
I love the evolution of the independent agent when they come on board with us with the Integra Partner Network. From a marketing perspective, I always get these questions. Can I do this? Can I do this? Like when they first start out with us, it is, can I do this? Can I do? And I'm going, it is your business. It is 100% your business. You own your book of business. You are an independent agency owner. And then after a while, it starts to evolve to, okay, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts on this? Not can I do this, but what are your thoughts on this? And I will ask, okay, what are you going for? What do you want out of this? And we talk through it. And then after a while, I get these calls or these emails that are, how do I fix this?
Exactly.
Right? But I can see the evolution of, can I do this, to, okay, how do I fix this? And coming out of the captive world, I can see why that happens, because you are so used to being told, this is what you have to do. You have all of these parameters. And then when you have somebody telling you, it's your business. You can do whatever you want. Then the sky's the limit. And then sometimes it goes a little bit far and you have to reel it back in. But that is the fantastic thing about this channel. You do not have to live anyone else's dream. Don't get caught up in, I have to make my business look like that, because it may not fit your lifestyle. If you can make a fantastic living, if you can go on the vacations that you want to go on, you can spend the time with your kids. If you can do what Shane did and be at every single ball game, whatever is important to you, that's the dream. And sometimes we don't realize what our dream truly is because we get so enamored with what other people are doing.
We spent 15 years working on our model. From 1998 to 2013, our model iteration changed like 4, maybe 5 times. And we have always been tweaking and modifying. And if there's one thing that you can always count on at Integra is that there's always going to be change. I've worked really hard to not create Shane exceptions and worked really hard to not be the sales guy. It's an evolutionary process. I have failed. We have failed because I have failed a lot over those first 15 years. And the last roughly 10 years have been much more stable, have been much more consistent. I get a lot of agents that we talk to and I hear from, and especially ones coming out of the captive system, and then the established independent agents that join our program. Sometimes they don't even know that they're not doing something well. They've been in a little bit of a bubble, and then their eyes are open to, oh, wow, those guys are writing how much business a month? That's crazy. You get both ends of the spectrum. What's really amazing about the former exclusive agent is the answer is always, sure you can, but the real question is, should you do this? And that's where we try, and every agency owner should try to get to this perfect spot of both balance and growth, is understanding what you can do, but also countering that with what you should do. While I hope that no one that starts an independent agency has to spend 15 years of failure to become successful. I had to do that to figure out how to run what I believe agency network should look like and how to make it successful for independent agencies. I had to figure that out. Hopefully, we've narrowed that learning curve dramatically for our partners. We have this thing out there with the franchise model, and it does restrict you quite a bit. And it does make you have to stop and go, can I do this? Which is really what happens in the exclusive model a lot, is you have to stop and go, can I do this? And the biggest change in the independent agency channel is the answer is always yes, unless it's against the law or violates the insurance code in your state or violates a carrier contract. Other than that, the answer is yes. But the real question is, should you? That's the real question.
There's a great book by John Maxwell called Put Your Dream to the Test. 10 questions to help you see it and seize it. And anytime I am talking with someone that has a new idea or a new dream, or they want to create something or make a big change, I always send them to this book because it's one of the best tools out there to really help you focus and see, okay, is this an idea or is it truly a dream of something I want to do? So it's called Put Your Dream to the Test. John Maxwell, fantastic, quick read. It's going to make you dig a little bit into who you are and is it really something you want to make happen, but very helpful when it comes to figuring out what you want to do next.
I want to make sure that I don't come across as being anti-dream. I am polar opposite of that. It's a process to really understand what your dream is. I'm not saying that other people don't inspire you to go down a certain path. It's my hope that we're inspiring you listening to have the dream of becoming an independent agency if you're not one today, or becoming a more successful independent agency owner if you are already an independent agency. We hope that our podcast inspires you. Inspiration from others is not chasing someone else's dream. Being able to stop and go, what do I really want? And I assume success in that question. What do I want when I have become successful? What does that look like? What does financial success look like to me? What does time availability success mean to me? Those can be different things. You may choose to be a $3.5 million agency and generate an income that is above average and be somewhat of what I call a practitioner. I love the practitioner model because it brings a lifestyle to it. Yeah, there's some hands-on stuff there, and you got to know that you're capable of the hands-on stuff. There's really two types of independent agencies. It's the practitioner as a solopreneur or a small team of 2 to 3 people plus yourself. And then there's the enterprise builder. The enterprise builder would be the agency owner who's literally building a bigger team, a management team, really being a CEO of people, leadership, middle management, full-blown producer, account management. Enterprise building probably starts around 10 employees and goes up to hundreds. What I don't love, because I don't see a lot of agents having success in either financial success or their time, is this sort of middle ground, this 5 to 10 or 12 employees, not enough revenue to really get themselves out of the day-to-day selling, or maybe they can't. You build this bigger team, but you can't turn things over because you realize halfway through building that enterprise that you thought was your dream because you're chasing somebody else's dream, that you don't like being a sales manager or a CEO, that you really like working with the customer. You really like being the risk manager. And now you've built this business that requires you to be something you don't love. If I find myself in that place, if I'm an agency owner, then I'm wanting to do one of two things. I want to retract back to the practitioner realm, or I want to push through and build my enterprise. And I want to start putting those pieces in place. And I want to understand, while I'm building my enterprise, I'm probably not going to make a lot of money personally because I'm reinvesting that money into the business itself. I find that agents get stuck in that middle and that they get very frustrated in that middle a lot of times because they really are practitioners, but they're chasing an enterprise dream because they see other people doing that on social media.
I'm about to really age myself, so just go with me on this. When I was a little girl, I can remember watching Mary Lou Retton at the Olympics. She was like the ultimate USA gymnast. Every little girl wanted to be her. So I talked my mom into taking me to the gym because I wanted to sign up because this was it. I wanted to be the next Mary Lou Retton. And she took me to Bayou Gymnastics, and Mr. Johnny at Bayou Gymnastics took one look at me and said, Kathy, take her back to the dancing school, put her in 2 or 3 more days a week of class there because she is already taller than Mary Lou Retton. She is never going to be a successful gymnast. She's not going to be a successful gymnast, on a regional scale, much less to be the next Mary Lou Retton. It's not going to happen. And my mom was like, oh, okay. But she's decided this is what she wants to do. And Mr. Johnny is, I am not going to take your money. It's not going to happen. I appreciate the fact that as a business owner, this man who could have very easily taken my parents' money, knowing that this was not going to happen for me, made the decision to be honest. And it could be that what you think you want because you're being inspired by what you're seeing around you, it seems like a really good idea. But let's be honest, I'm not going to be Simone Biles. Right now, the person that's most inspiring me beyond Snoop Dogg is the Turkish sharpshooter. He knows who he is. There is no question that he is trying to be anybody else. There is no question about his authenticity. He's the silver medalist. He's good at what he does. I'm more inspired by him than I am Simone Biles, which Simone is amazing. I'm not taking anything away from her. Again, the empire that she's built and the fact that she's doing what she's doing beyond the average age of an Olympic gymnast, it's absolutely fantastic. But I'm embracing the authenticity and the I know who I am. This is what I do, and this is what I do well, and I don't have to put on a show to do it by this Turkish sharpshooter.
Thank goodness that I actually found a dream that resonated with me. And that's the part that I really want agents to take away here, mainly business owner, agency owners, or producers that aspire to be agency owners, which, hey, I love because I want you to join us if you're a producer that wants to start their own agency. That's what we do. We help producers start agencies. But the first thing I want you to do is make sure that you're wanting to be an agency owner and you're really not just chasing the owner that you work for's dream, because there's a lot of producers that work for a lot of agencies that need to be producers because you're fantastic salespeople. And you really don't need to end up owning the agency because you may not be happy there. That's what I want people to do, is find out where they fit and then do that incredibly well. I've got a brother-in-law who's passed up over the last few years at my asking and my requesting the sales management type environment. And he constantly is, I just think I'm a salesperson. I don't know that I'm interested in being a sales manager. Kudos to him. I had needs at times and I'm like, you want to do this? And thank goodness for his own personal discipline to know what his dream is. He's one of the best commercial producers I've ever seen or been around. And thank goodness he has the discipline to know that he's doing what he needs to be doing.
I'm going to leave us today with this quote from American speed skater, 5-time gold medalist Bonnie Blair. Winning doesn't always mean being first. Winning means you're doing better than you've ever done before.
Attitude's a choice. Make a great one.
Bye, y'all.
Ready to get the ball rolling with your independent agency? Learn more at IntegraAgent.com. That's IntegraAgent.com. Thank you for joining us on IA Forward. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now, or learn more at IAForward.com.